at the moment. As you can see, there are some little termites moving around, very, very small ones, so not the macro termes, not the large fungus growing termes, but probably one of the micro termes species, maybe the little, not quite the harvesters, but maybe the southern snouted harvesters that we've got moving around here. There are so many different species in the world that sometimes it is a bit hard to keep track. Now, they're moving around. It looks like they're just foraging slightly. I think something had walked through here, and it wouldn't surprise me if it was perhaps not this leopard that had stood on their temporary little structure, which you can see. You can see all that dark matter over there. That is very, very fresh soil and saliva that they've mended together to create a little temporary structure so that they can keep working 24/7, the hardest workers in the bush. And we have got lots of leopard tracks going through here. So if you stay there, Craig, I'm going to point out a leopard track over here. Look at this. Here's the leopard track I was telling you about. So I think it was the leopards that actually destroyed that little temporary structure. Not us, not a car, but a leopard is standing on one of those things, and the termites, unfortunately, are not too happy about it. Some of them look a little bit on the dazed side, but they'll be okay. They'll recover. They're pretty tough. They didn't look like they were severely damaged, just sort of like they bumped their heads a little bit and just seeing stars, trying to figure out exactly what's going on. Now, there was a request. Megan, I've forgotten who requested the not termites, antlions. Can we have that name? I'm just readjusting, as you can see, because I've got cables and radios all attached to me. Guy apparently wanted to see antlion little holes, so we've got quite a few of them over here. I'm going to have to go back down and make sure I don't squash any termites. That would be terrible. They've already had a horrible ordeal with a leopard experience. So these little holes that you can see down into the ground, there's a couple of them, which is not uncommon for the larvae of an antlion. They make quite a few of them, and they move around them throughout the evening. Though I can't really see too many fresh tracks. I can definitely see that it was in here at one point, and I need to pull a piece of grass so I can guide Craig. But you can see that it was in here. But that little concave pit has caved in, and then you can see they move backwards. Look at this little trail here. You see that? That is from the antlion. And now it's gone all the way here, if you keep following, to this conical pit. Is anybody home? Termite! Oh my goodness, termite, be careful, because you don't know what you're about to walk into. Ah! And it's fallen in. Craig, can you see that? Look how it's just fallen into that pit. So that's exactly how that pit was designed, specifically for that exact reason, is that an insect in particular, and ants or termites or anything really, they're not particularly fussy, would fall straight in. That termite had no idea that it was there. It just fell straight in. But there's no little antlion that's home. Otherwise, you would have seen a whole lot of sand sort of flicking up, and that's the tactic, of course, of the antlion, the larvae, is to flick up sand, throw sand on whatever's trying to crawl out and cover it, and then it will start eating it alive, which is pretty gross and gruesome. But no one home today, so this termite will live to see another day if it can climb out of that pit. Let's go across to Brent. He's up and running, and he's got some wildebeest.
Good morning to an absolutely fabulous morning here in Kenya. We are live from the Masai Mara. We are still currently in the, not quite south, but the eastern sectors. We're about halfway between a place called Kikarok and Talek, and the local migration is here. So the main wildebeest migration is still to the south of us, and all these wildebeest that are spread out over the plain around us have come out of the hills in Kenya. So there's about 15 to 20,000 wildebeest that actually don't leave Kenya when the migration goes, but they have a very small local migration of about 100 kilometers. The thing that absolutely blows my mind is that the day the main migration arrived across the Sand River, the local migration arrived as well. Now, there must be something in the air or something in the grass that has made them just arrive, and it is quite wonderful. Can you hear that, Dave? Now, a lot of what's happening is boys chasing the girls. And it is probably one of the most funny things to witness. And Jamie is actually begged. She wants to do a commentary on a male wildebeest trying to chase off males and get lucky at the same time. So I'm not going to go into too much detail about it, and I'm going to let Jamie do the next segment, all about the and literally I think we've actually come to an understanding about how wildebeest speak. Remember, this is 100% live, and you can ask us questions by using the hashtag #SafariLive. And we're just sitting, and at the moment I'm just soaking up the sun, to be honest. It was really chilly this morning, and I know this sounds horrible, but we started off our morning with a bit of a bang, didn't we, Dave?
We did.
We were very, very lucky last night. We stayed at, I think it's probably one of my favorite camps in Africa at the moment. We stayed at a camp called Salas, where we will be staying quite regularly while the migration's here. And the whole night last night, we just got serenaded by the lions. And while we're sitting around the fire before dinner, we heard the lions, and over the night, sort of every half an hour, they were just a little bit closer, till when we woke up this morning, it was a vibrating tent. And we drove 25 meters out of camp, and we were lucky enough to see a mating pair in the most glorious golden light. Now, we will have signal there shortly, but unfortunately at the moment we don't. And it was just absolutely gorgeous. Now, Francis, in Israel, Shalom Francis, would like to know what animals make up the migration. Well, the majority of the animals are wildebeest, probably about 1.5 million animals. And the rest are made up by Thompson's gazelle and zebra. So it is quite special that to see them all together, and I love it, because I mean, this is the small migration, and the wildebeest have come in from the conservancies. But if we spread our eye to the opposite valley there, there's a couple of hundred zebra. Now, these zebra are actually the forerunners of the Great Migration, not the local migration. And what happens is the zebras are bulk grazers, so they don't mind
Sorry guys, it seems like the gremlins are expanding onto the Mara as well, but I'm sure Brent will be able to fight them off. But don't you worry, we've got your back, and we can take you guys along for the drive. We are just checking the northern boundary, or well, rather the eastern boundary. I don't know why I keep calling northeast and the other way around. I'll get there. Just to see if perhaps maybe the lions came all the way up here, because I think the tracks for where Taylor had those leopards going into is a road that we've done about 5 times this morning. So maybe eventually we'll go around and just see if perhaps there's anything else that's popping in and out of there that we can see. But if not, we'll keep you guys posted. Let's see, maybe we'll be able to come somewhere around here. I'm feeling confident that maybe we will find something along here. Even the Ellies this morning have been quiet. Yesterday we couldn't drive a road without finding them, and then this morning they've all disappeared and they're all somewhere else. Whoop. I think, actually, sorry Senza, I know this might be tricky, but I'd rather go down this road. Well, this wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. Whoop. See, and we are around. Now that we can see it properly and beautifully, I want to show you a very long, probably the longest type of grass that we get around here, which is called the yellow thatching grass. And it's the grass that we use in a lot of places just to make those thatch roofs, and obviously produce them in very long quality. So I just want to give you guys a size comparison of just how long it can be. So you see, if I stand next to it, I think this one might be even taller than me. What do you guys think? So we've got it all around in this area and just expanding to the back. And well, I'm about 1.72 meters, so I've been told that that's about 5'8". I'm quite offended that I'm not even 6 foot. You have no idea what it means to me. And this thing is taller, so this one is still green, looking very, very greenish all around here, because we are in a seems like wetter patch. I think actually I'm getting my boots wet. How exciting for the first time in months. And not too many animals will feed on grass that it's so tall. We have certain species of herbivores, maybe something like a roan antelope or an eland. They prefer grass that is slightly longer. But for us humans, this is very good. If you go around Hoedspruit, which is one of the villages that's not too far from us, or well, towns, because I still think it's quite a small town. Oh, what it is that we've got here, then it is what they use to make all the beautiful thatch roofs that we see pretty much everywhere else, and in particular in a lot of the lodges. So if you come to the lodges in the Sabi-san, you'll see a lot of them have those beautiful thatch roofs. They are pretty, although a lot of creatures like living in there, like perhaps some snakes like the mambas. Bush babies are terribles. I think Brent and Jamie even had a monitor lizard living in their roof for a while. I want to see what it is that I've got down here. I think we've got a nest for a spider, but I'm not gonna bother it too much because I think it's also a bit tricky for me to try and show you guys, and I'm not gonna break it and put it up here because I reckon this is a hard condition for them already. So let's see. Can you please let me go? Thank you. I think my feet got tangled up in the grass. So yellow thatching grass it is called, and in some areas of Africa, I think in areas like Tanzania and Kenya, it can get, especially the southern side, it can get very, very long because it's pretty much nothing that will trample it. So sometimes you need something big like an elephant to come around and help you make it smaller. Woo! Woo! Now that we've left the long bush, let's go over to Taylor, who seems to have found a lot more.
We have gone back to talking about trees, but what was that? Did you also hear it, Craig? We just heard a sound. I don't know what that sound was. I'm going to be listening out for that sound again, though. Maybe it's an elephant or something down in the drainage. It sounded like an ear flapping against its body. Oh well, we'll keep listening. Sorry if I do the mongoose or the meerkat. Please just bear with me. It's not the ADD kicking in this time. But we have got a sickle bush. Now, first things first, I want to ask a question while I tell you about this tree so you have some time to think. So my question about the sickle bush is, what color are the flowers that this tree bears? So hashtag Safari Live with your answers as to what color you think the flowers are of a sickle bush. No Googling, no interwebbing, no cheating. You've just got to guess. And if you don't know, well, we'll all learn a little bit, learn something from this. But this is a very cool plant. There's a lot of it around here. Now, unfortunately, we don't see too many animals feeding on it, even though just listening, just in case. Craig looked one way and then he made me nervous, so just making sure. But their leaves actually have got quite a high energy sort of value to it, so it's a pity that not many more things eat them. I'm not sure what they taste like, so we'll have a little taste and see if it's bitter or not. Again, this tree is not potentially toxic to us as humans. I might even swallow this. Not too bad. A little bit sort of tanniny towards the end, if tanniny is a word. We'll just pretend it is. Not bad. I don't think I'd eat a whole bowl of salad leaves. I think I'll probably eat the jackalberry leaves, seeing as though I've discovered they taste a bit like peanut butter, which is interesting. Let's swallow it with some water, I think, like a tablet. Otherwise, I'm just going to have bits of little leaves all in my mouth, and that won't be very attractive. And the reason why I came to the sickle bush is because earlier we were talking about how trees try and protect themselves. And here's a perfect example of a tree that has spines. So it doesn't have a thorn. A thorn is a modified leaf, whereas a spine is a modified stem or a branch. So you can see something like this happening over here. You can clearly see Gale with a G. We were wondering exactly about the thorns and spines. Well, there we go. Now you know the difference. Great minds think alike. So you can quite see that a little leaf can actually grow off of a spine. You will not see that happening with a thorn. Now, to me, a spine I don't think is as effective as a thorn. Thorns are a lot sharper. These do have quite a sharp tip to them, but you can sort of run your hands through them. You might get a prick here and there, but it's not going to hook you and hold on to you. For instance, like the buffalo thorn, or even the knob thorns that have got those hook thorns to them, which to me must be some of the most potent thorns in the bush. So they've got this to try and protect it. It's not to stop animals from feeding on a particular tree like this. It's just to slow the browsing rate down, because you've seen the way that elephants completely demolish trees. Impala, a whole herd of impala or a family of kudu could come through and do exactly the same thing. So it's very important that they try and slow this rate down, and thorns and spines do exactly that. Now Megan's going to read me some of the answers that are coming through as to what color you think the flowers are on the sickle bush. Okay, so we've got, is it Jess or Tess that you said there? Oh, Tess, there we go. Tess, you said that they are white, and Johan, you've said they are pink. Well, almost. I suppose you got two colors right. They sometimes can even be three colors. Let's see if somebody else can guess the third color. So those are both actually correct. Here we go. And our favorite, Judy H. Hello, Judy. You said that they're pink and yellow. Those are the most two common colors that you see on a sickle bush, are pink and yellow. So everybody, well done. If you didn't know, there we go. Something to look forward to. And they are the most beautiful flowers too. I have seen a bit of white though on sickle bush flowers before. Sometimes when they get really big. And one of my favorite things, there we go. So Judy says that they go white after pollination. Thank you very much, Judy. We know we can always count on you. So that's really cool, don't you think? And hopefully once they start to get their flowers again, we'll be able to put one underneath the microscope for you, because I think that really shows you how truly beautiful they are. However, sickle bush are a huge problem in South Africa, and particularly down in the southern sands, I noticed, along the banks of the Sabi River, in some sections where they haven't cleared. So a lot of the reserves in the Sabi Sand have actually done clearings to try and get rid of some of this thick stuff, and the sickle bush form huge sort of pockets, and it's almost impenetrable, not just because of the spines of course, but it's quite a woody, quite a harsh plant, so you won't be able to walk through there. You won't even be able to drive your vehicle through there, firstly because you're going to get a whole lot of punctures. Thorns don't necessarily cause punctures, but spines most certainly do. They're a lot more robust, so they're able to push through the hard rubber of the tires. Even though we've got the best 4x4 tires you can think of, nothing can stop the spine of a sickle bush. So they do clear them, and I know what they were trying to do in certain areas of Botswana, and I think I've spoken about this before, but during the droughts there was very, very little plants left, and one of the only surviving plants happened to be the sickle bush. But it's not necessarily the most favorable plant of the animals. Like I said, the leaves do contain quite a bit of high energy, but they needed some coaxing to try and get the elephants to help clear these pockets, and then of course it was also providing food for them, and they were putting molasses over these plants. Now they're putting, like I said, the original form of molasses, and that would attract them. It's very sweet and will bring lots of different animals. So that's a natural way, I suppose, of clearing, is getting the elephants to do the hard work just by adding a little bit of molasses. We're going to move away from this very thick pocket though that's on this drainage line. We're hearing all sorts of strange noises down there, but well done to all of you for getting the answers right with the flowers, the colors of the flowers on the sickle bush. I'm very impressed this morning. And did you hear that as well, Craig? I'm pretty sure there's elephants somewhere down here. I thought I just heard a trumpet. Ali was looking for birds, but they don't seem to be hanging around. They're flying away. Let's go see if she's going to make her way this side to find those leopards.
I think Taylor should go and find the leopards, because she's a lot closer and she knows where they are, and she's already on foot. But we are going to eventually start making our way there and see if perhaps we can give her a hand. We are not too far from the area, but hopefully she'll beat us to it and she'll be able to find them, or maybe she'll find that elephant that she was hearing. We did see something quite interesting that I've been seeing the last few days, but unfortunately they don't sit still and they carry on flying away. So we saw a Jacobin cuckoo this one over here. So this is a type of species of bird that actually the parents parasitize the nests of other species of birds, and then they lay their eggs in there, and the host species, in this case the arrow-marked babbler, is the one that will raise the chicks. So the parents of this one don't really raise the chicks. Now I want to show you the arrow-marked babbler as well, so you'll be able to get a bit of an idea of just how a different species of bird it is. Just gonna find it quickly, and like I said, I'm pretty sure it's the same flock that I've been seeing the past few days, and I think they're just, you know, tempting me, because we've been seeing lots and lots of them. Did I get the page wrong? Sorry guys, I seem to have gotten this wrong. 344. What is happening? Anyway, so they are with the wrong one, and they're not supposed to be with them. So I wonder, oh, I can hear the parrots. Remember the ones that we were looking at, the brown-headed parrots? I can hear them in the distance, that very loud, shrieky call. Let's go back to here. I think this is probably the best way for me to do it. I'm almost there. So I've been seeing this one, the arrow-marked babbler, very, very noisy species of bird, and they normally live in quite big flocks. And I've seen them raise the chick for, well, my poor book, looks somewhat similar to this one, but without those little stripes. So you see just how different the two species of bird are, the babbler and the cuckoo. And the babbler will not recognize that it's not actually their offspring, that it belongs to somebody else. But they've done a great job, because the cuckoo is very big. And I saw it just now, it was begging for food. So it goes into the branch of the tree and, you know, starts making a noise. And then the parents, they come and they feed it. And because it's bigger than the babblers, then they manage to monopolize a lot of the food. The parents have to work slightly harder to try and feed this offspring, this quite a large and different offspring. Let's see. And like I said, I think this is the 4th time that I've seen them flying around here, but it's always hard, because as soon as we come across them, they start flying away and we are not able to see them. But it's quite interesting. I mean, there's lots of cuckoos that still appear to be around here. Maybe it's a bit late for them, and they are all around, always with the arrow-marked babblers. I think maybe because they are so noisy, they attract a lot of other creatures to them. Seems like we got an update from the radio that they found some more lion tracks heading south into another property. So I wonder if they are all together, if they split up in groups, or if maybe they've just been moving up and down, because there were reports for another pride maybe looking for buffaloes. So I think it's it's been a crazy morning for them. They all seem to have been moving around, and it could be the reason why we haven't been able to find them, because they've just been moving non-stop. But hopefully the leopards are a bit more settled, so once we get into that area, I'm hoping that we'll be able to find some more signs for them. I was hoping, this is we're in the area where Amber Eyes was seen quite often, so it's a different drainage line from where she used to be. And I know Herbie and Tristan walked this drainage line to try and see if perhaps they could find it then, which they didn't come across. So I was kind of hoping that maybe there were some tracks around here that would let us know. Seems like Brent has managed to fight the gremlins off, and he's got... Nope. No, he's not. Sorry, I think Brent had another surprise attack from the gremlins. Sorry guys, I got very excited that we were going to be able to see him up there, but I think there are a few more battles that he needs to fight up. So you guys will carry on with me, and hopefully we'll be able to find something else. Whew. We are not too far now from the area where we want to go. And I am hoping that now that we've spiced our luck up, we've changed our cards and moved on to a different area, we would be able to be slightly luckier. And I see lots of the trees that Taylor's been talking about this morning. seen some guarri bushes, marulas and jackalberries, and well, a lot of elephant dung, because I heard that you guys were doing a dung quiz. So well done. A lot of the times it's very important. Alright, I do think that Brent has managed to fight off all the gremlins, and he's been able to find something that we've been looking for all morning. So let's go to Brent and see how the Mara is doing today.
Sight. Who can see what we see in Kenya? Now, 1, 2, 3. Dave's going to show you what we see. Oh, look at that. Hello, pretty lady. Now, one of the most exciting things for us being out here is we have no idea who this lion is. And this is new country for us. It's new territory. And so we're learning together. And
welcome back. I'm trying to find this beetle. This beetle dropped on the ground and I was looking at it. Oh, there he is. I was looking at him to try and investigate. I'm actually going to pick him up and put him in my hand because I want to show you very closely what he looks like. Don't move, Beetly. Look how cool he is. I don't know what it is, but it's definitely in the Coleoptera family. One of the largest orders of insects, that with flies. But you can see if it will keep still. Keep still. Can you see him, Greg, or is he moving too much? What's so amazing about him is his back. It looks as though he's been trying to cover himself with debris and hide away. And I know there are certain types of insects that will try and do something like that. I don't know where he's come from, but he was walking across the road, so I'm going to put him back down on the road. I was just very intrigued by his technique of camouflage. But look at him go. He's a funny shape as well. He looks like the shape of an 8, the number 8, because he's got his head is quite small. It looks like he's got like a form of armor plating on his back, and then quite a round abdomen too. But off he goes walking about. Like I said, I have absolutely no idea what this is, but if you've seen this beetle before, and perhaps you know what it is and can give me a tip on where I need to search in my insect book, you can hashtag Safari Live on Twitter with your answers. Maybe Judy H, you can help us out here. Some of the long-standing viewers, because we will start to see the same things every now and wow, you almost watched me get knocked out over there. As we both stood up, obviously we've got cables and radios and things, and Craig has got the most massive aerial sticking off of the back of his head. But as you can imagine, when he leans forward, that thing comes forward. So I just very, very quickly matrixed back so I didn't get hit on the head. Good reflexes, hey Craig? Okay. We keep trying to kill each other today. So what Craig and I are doing at the moment, because we don't want to go in and follow those leopard tracks, or where they go to, we're doing something completely opposite. We're trying to figure out where they've come from. So we are following the tracks the other way around. We had some dung just further back. There's definitely a male and a female. I'm not convinced that it's an adult male, because some of the tracks look big, and then you see them on the harder sand and they don't look as large as all. So I think they're splaying about in the softer sand. So I definitely think it's mom and potentially a young male just walking with her. So that's quite interesting. But we're basically on the corner now, the western corner of quarantine. And I haven't got any more of their tracks. So there's some hyena tracks coming through here. Let's just check here if they've come down from this side. It's hard to see here. Let's try a little bit further forward. Might be a bit better. No. I don't think they've come from this side. So I think what's happened is that they must have come up from this drainage line that runs sort of between Quarantine and Rebecca's Road. Somewhere down there. Maybe they had a kill of some sort for the last few days. And then they came up and they walked all the way around past the Bushbrae site. And then straight in towards that block that I was telling you all about. I know Ali is slowly making her way this side. And I think if she can just check Ingwe Alley and Twin Dams Road to see if they've come out from there, and if they haven't, then we can certainly say that they're inside there somewhere, just resting. Ingwe Alley is a nice place because there's lots of big marula trees off of that road. We've seen Karula in there a number of different times with her little ones. Watch out, Craig. There's a tree that you're about to walk into. There's point Craig of the obstacles as well. Ali has actually arrived on quarantine, so she should be able to see in that corner, like I said, where Wahlberg's Road is, the junction with Philemon's Dip, just before you start descending to go down to Philemon's Dip on quarantine side, all the tracks. And if she wants to have a look to confirm if they are male and female, if she goes back along the road that goes towards the Bushbrae site, she'll see one set of tracks on either side of the road very, very nicely. So that's quite exciting. We did try and mark off where we had the last ones disappearing, but then also we may have not been concentrating, and I could have quite easily just walked over those tracks. I do that all the time. Look what we've got here. Look what we had here. It seems as though there's a lovely round leaf teak growing here. Now, remember the other day I was showing you a round leaf teak, and I said to you that they don't particularly get very big because the elephants keep them dwarfed, and the buffalo and zebra also feed on them during the winter months. But here's the base of one. So look how thick the trunk of a round leaf teak can actually get. It's rather quite large, but it has been completely dwarfed now. It's been eaten by the elephants. They probably would have broken this off. They would have fed on the bark too. But luckily, it's sprouting out from the ground, and some smaller bits are starting to grow. However, this area is very popular for elephants, with all the marula trees and all the marula fruits that are dropped around here. So I don't think this one is safe, and I think it is going to stay small like this for the rest of eternity. Good luck, little bush willow. Not bush willow, round leaf teak. Look at me talking nonsense now. So we're going to keep searching around here and see what else we can find. Maybe we'll find some more critters as it's starting to warm up. But I'm going to send you back across to Ali, who has got a herd of impala.
Lots of impala around here. So if you were watching the dam cam, this is pretty much where all of them have been coming from. So I think lots and lots of them just busy jumping around here, and it seems like, you know, they get bitten by the speedy bug and then they start running across onto the water. Let's see if maybe they'll carry on jumping in front of us, because it is quite fantastic to see them do that. It is funny with impala, once one starts doing it, poof, there we go. Then we're going to have all of them running around. Look at that. Oh my goodness. Run, impala, run! And they have reached the water. This is a lot of them. I wouldn't be surprised if we could be close to maybe 80, 70 of them, perhaps even 100 if we push it quite far. But they're all still running towards the water. So I think maybe now that it's warmed up and we're not too... We're quite high, not too far from quarantine. This area is a lot warmer, so I'm sure that this is why they've all decided to come and have a drink. Plus, also, I'm pretty sure they all know that Vlad and Boris, the crocodiles, are not in there. So, why not? Maybe this is their version of a coffee shop in the morning. I have a grumpy female just calling the rest of the herd. Like, come on, guys. It seems like some more of our impala are being quite sleepy, and the ones ahead of us are not running for the water. I think they've decided to take a bit more of a chilled walk to the dam. Guys, you're being quite happy. Ruth, you'd like to know if they run sometimes just for the fun of it. I think they do. I think in this case they got excited and hyper, and you know, one starts running, it's just like, oh, I can do it too, I can do it too, and they all start running around. So I do think impala like to exercise, and often you will see that, especially when the young ones are around, they'll start punking when they jump like this, and it almost looks like a funny little thing. But I think the ones that have crossed in front of us, they're probably the elder creatures, because they don't seem to be too keen on running and moving around as much as the other ones. So perhaps we have a bit of a different age group, and that's why these ones are taking it a bit more easy all the way onto the water. Plus, also good for them, the watch is not going to go anywhere, at least not for the time being, so they're taking their time. But guys, I think you're going the wrong way. Everybody else started jumping in a bit of a different direction. Maybe these are the confused girls. Huh. It is amazing. We see them all together now, and very likely they're all not part of the same group, and I wonder if perhaps the tracks that Taylor had, because we're not too far where she wants us to go and have a look around, if perhaps those two leopards were eyeing this particular impalas. I mean, there are lots of them around here, so if I were a leopard and I had to start looking for impala, this is probably the place that I would come around. I mean, we've seen lots of them around. Morning groom. Bit of a scratch. How the little ones know who their parents are. Well, normally when they're born, the female leaves the herd and she goes into a bit of a more secluded private area, and she will have that little one there for a few days just to make sure that they bond together, so they'll be able to recognize their mother's particular smell and just know who they need to go and look for food, especially in terms of milk, because impala will not nurse somebody else's lamb, so they need to make sure that they can recognize their mother and go precisely to that one to then be able to get food. And I suppose it's a lot like humans. Impalas to us look somewhat the same, but if you were an impala, likely everybody else would look different to you, and you would be able to know who's who and who's exactly around. And I mean, I would imagine sometimes animals looking at us like we all look the same. Sometimes maybe we have a different coloration, but maybe to us we're all pretty much a big, strange creature that comes around. But yeah, even zebras, particularly zebras, when they have their little ones, their foals, they go into a secluded area, and it's believed that it's also for the foal to learn the mother's stripe pattern, because there are some studies that suggest that if a stallion finds a foal that is not part of their herd, will often try and go and kill it, and they normally do that by kicking, because they believe that it's someone that's intruding into their particular herd and it doesn't belong there, because technically a little one should always recognize its mother. So I wonder. But they are very clever at knowing who's who. Even lions and leopards, they will know what their particular mother smells and sounds like, and they will only respond to their particular calls or smell. Animals are very creature, and they have very smart creatures, and they have different tools and skills that we might not quite have. Lara Moore, you're saying that sheep and goats first learn their babies from smell and then by sound. I think that is also what happens with a lot of these animals, because when they're very, very tiny, particularly animals that are just wobbly, and if you imagine some of the mammals, they are born without eyes being open yet, so what they're going to rely on is the other senses, and their ears are also closed. Especially in the case of a tiny baby lion like the one we saw yesterday, or tiny leopard cubs, when they are born, they pretty much can only rely on their sense of smell to be able to recognize their mothers. It's a bit different in the case of hyenas, because they are already born with eyes open and ears open and all their teeth, or most of their teeth. So I would say smell plays a very important role in the life of all of these animals. I mean, they've got a lot more understanding of what everything smells like than what we do. Imagine what it would be like to have the particular skills of all of these animals in the mornings when they start smelling, how many different things they are able to recognize in different scents. And often that's why we see them, especially when the wind starts blowing, they raise their heads and then start getting all of that information. Because we can do it up to an extent. I don't think my olfactory skills are as good as the ones for these animals. But, we're able to recognize certain smells, like what a person smells like, or a particular person smells like, or fire, or certain flowers, or anything else. But just imagine having something that's a lot more refined that you can then find pretty much anything else around. I think that's one of their major ways of communication, and I hope one day we'll be able to understand it fully. But I think what would be quite awesome one day is just to maybe be able to experience it and see it's like, so this is, the way that they do it. We're going to carry on down the road, see if perhaps we can find those leopards that Taylor was looking at. In the meantime, I think she's taken to higher ground to see if perhaps she can see something in the forest distance. Let's go over to Taylor and see where she is.
I am indeed, Ellie. I'm actually searching for you. I can't find you, and I can't see any leopards from all the way up here. I'm standing in a Phalaenoptera violaceae, an apple leaf, one of the coolest trees out here. And I chose a tree that wasn't particularly easy to climb. I'm glad I didn't have to do the part where you actually watched me go up it. Craig, was it a very elegant way, or did I look something like I was sort of, I don't even know, an impala trying to climb out of the trees? Probably what I sort of look like, legs dangling and to pull myself up, and my shoes don't have the greatest grip either. But what happened is between these two branches here, and Megan, you've said that you thought I look quite elegant. Well, thank you very much. I don't know how cool it was. Getting down is going to be a different story. But it is really, really nice to see what the view is like when you're a little bit raised. When we started the show, I was standing up on a termite mound and I thought that I could see a lot. But from up here, I can see right across the drainage line to the other side of where Rebecca's road is. I can see... What else can I see? I can't see Ellie yet, but I can see all the way into the corner where we had those leopard tracks. But it is really nice out here, and I'm sad that there were no monkeys or no hornbills or anything like that to join me. But it is a beautiful tree. It's a great leopard tree too. In Zambia I was spoiled. I saw more leopards in leaves than I think I did in any other tree. Oh, and in nyala berries too. There were lots of them in the nyala berries, but the apple leaves in Zambia are massive. And it's got a lovely wood, this tree, as you can see, but this is a particularly small one. Normally, I think what's happened here is the elephants must have got to it when it was quite young and broke it about, and then it's split into two, because typically it just has one big trunk as a marula tree does. But it's very good wood. You can make lots of different types of furniture out of it, and what the locals use this for is if they can find a trunk of the tree that's wide enough, they will actually make a mokoro out of it, which is a basic canoe. Now, Lara Moore, you're wondering if I could perhaps carry a kill up this tree with me too. If that kill was in the form of a backpack, yes. Otherwise, I don't know how leopards do it. I don't know if I could put something in my mouth and pull it up here. I don't even think I'd be able to get up this tree with one hand. I needed to use both as well as both my feet to sort of scramble up to the tops over here. But now we need to try and get down. Hey, Craig, this is going to be interesting. Let's see. Let's hope I don't fall. Otherwise, if I fall, have a good laugh and enjoy it, because that's what I'd want you to do. I think Megan is a little bit nervous of me trying to climb down from here. Are you scared, Megan, that I fall? I'm scared that I fall. But you know what I'm more worried about is that my mic pack falls off. Right, let's give it a bash. Let's see. Now, this is if I was a leopard, this is how I would go down. And I apologize. My shirt is getting caught on all the cables, so it keeps lifting up. Pretty easy. It wasn't actually too difficult at all. I thought I was going to fall and break my ankle, but now I'm out of breath. It was exhausting climbing up that tree. I've done all my exercise for the day now. Arms are gymmed, and I think that's about it. But let's go across to Ali now, who's not too far away, and she's searching for those leopard tracks.
Well done, Taylor, on climbing down. I think we were all maybe holding our breath there, wanting to know if she was going to be able to pull through, and she clearly did, so well done. Maybe Taylor was a monkey in a different life. Who knows? Or maybe she was a leopard. I wonder what she would like to have been. Right, we haven't come across these leopard tracks yet, but we are busy checking around just in case. Who knows, maybe we'll spot them somewhere around this road. We have driven up and down this road a few times already, the whole morning. I think this is our nemesis. And yesterday was such a good road to all of us. But we shall carry on trying. Maybe we'll find some more lucky beans. Maybe we'll find the leopards. I am also glancing in the distance and see if maybe, they are not by any chance up in a marula tree like Xongile was yesterday, because I am sure she was just looking at all of us the whole day while we were driving up and down. Not too far from those elephants. Alright, nothing around here. Senzo, come on. Do you see any leopards up in a tree? You're trying to check. Let's see. No tracks here. Nope. Just checking very slowly, see if maybe we'll come across anything, or we can see anything up in the distance. Wouldn't be surprised if they were lying somewhere on the ground. See, sometimes it doesn't help that I'm quite short. Nothing around here. I wonder if there's even that ellie that Taylor heard earlier, if it's still feeding in between the bushes, or if it was perhaps an elephant and not something else. Sometimes we hear the strangest noises out in the bush and you believe that it is something else, and then you get really surprised when it turns out to be a completely different animal. Let's see. Can't really see many tracks around here. You are joking. Here's a lion track. I just want to show you guys. Maybe I'll see another clearer one. I wonder if the lions were actually looking at Taylor this morning. Going up and down. No. Come on, man. Okay, I will try to find a pretty one or one that's slightly clear so that I can show it to you guys. I wonder if maybe the lions actually came down this road this morning. So far I can only see tracks for one. So, and it's going into Quarantine's direction. So maybe the lions were roaring from a further distance and then one of them decided to come all this way and carry on. So I believe they found some tracks for lions that cross west from us. Let me see. Okay, nothing else around here. Just want to check this road quite thoroughly now that we've seen some tracks, because who knows? Maybe there's something else lurking around in the grass here. Hello, Crickety. Interesting. The plot thickens, guys. Just when we thought that we kind of knew what was going on, things have changed around. I can't see any more tracks now. Would be good to know. Hello, Terminalia. I think you were pushed down by an ellie. Oh no. Okay, let's see if there's anything else around here. I think there might not be. Sometimes it's hard to see. This is quite odd. Lots of little things around this road. Sorry, it's all looking very patchy and it's not easy to spot, so as soon as I find something that is a lot easier to view, then I'll let you guys know and we'll be more than happy to show it to you. Because for now, it seems like the grass is a bit hard, so I can just see maybe a little toe or a lobe at the back, but it's not that clear. So let's see, maybe somewhere around here. Maybe here that it's a bit sandier. Nope. Nothing around here. We have had some ellies moving around here, and I think someone has driven on this road this morning, so if there were any tracks, I don't think I'll be able to see them as clearly. But let's carry on trying anyway. We shall never give up. Seems like our search is going to take slightly longer once more, but let's go over to Taylor, who's got another tree. I wonder if she's going to try and climb this one too.
Not even a chance this time. I'm too scared I fall out of it. And also, if you have a look at the tree that I'm going to show you, is a big marula tree. It's impossible to try and shimmy my way up that one unless I perhaps had a rope. So we better get weaving with the silver cluster leaf then. Are you ready for that, Craig? It needs to be nice and strong. No, what we're actually looking at is some elephants that have been feeding around here. Now, this is a big branch. I want to see if I can actually lift it. It's massive and it's really, really heavy, and the fact that an elephant is able to pick this up without even breaking into a sweat or blinking twice is pretty impressive. I'm going to drop it now though. It's a huge tree, and look where they've broken it from, all the way up top there. Now, that of course says to me that that was most likely a large elephant bull that was stretching up, using his trunk, and eventually wrapping over a branch and pulling and snapping it straight off. But it was done quite some time ago. It's not any sort of fresh damage. You can see here that the bark is not bright red, which the cambium layer is when you first cut into it. And you can see that it is all dried out even on the inside of the tree, which takes quite some time. But we did have lots and lots of elephant bulls at one point feeding on these marula trees in this area. So that's quite cool. And lots of debris. You can see all the little branches. They've stripped them of their leaves and they've been feeding on them. So lots of sticks here. Then I need to just fix my earpiece as we walk over. The nightmare of earpieces. I am going to show you something on the tree. If I can, there we go. Not really what I wanted to do, but whatever. It'll survive. Let's have a look at all of these holes in the tree. And now you can see that the hard outer bark has been stripped away. That's from the elephants. The elephants is not quite ring-barked it, almost ring-barked this tree. It's still alive though, feeding on that cambium layer. Not this layer though. So this is really hard. I think there's a lot of, from what I can see over here, it seems as though the termites have already got into it. So they're starting to hollow it out. And these little holes, I think, were created by woodpeckers. I think a combination of woodpeckers and boring beetles. And it's amazing how a woodpecker is able to use its beak. It's got a chisel-like tip, which allows it to drill into the hard wood, and then a combination of a very long barbed tongue with a sticky coating allows them to, once they have drilled inside a hole inside the tree, then they'll shoot their tongue in through there and grab any insects, any larvae, any beetles, anything that's living inside here. But it's amazing. You're probably thinking, how on earth does a woodpecker protect itself when it is knocking away at a tree like this? Well, firstly, if you're drilling in something, if any of you have ever drilled a hole in before, you know that you need to be careful you don't get any debris into your eyes. And also the woodpeckers are sort of hammering away at it rather than a drilling motion. So they have a special membrane that helps protect their eyes. And then of course they've got a very spongy skull and lots of muscles around to try and protect their heads from all that trauma. Their skull fits very tightly around their brain, so there's not much movement. Obviously for us, when we have concussions and things like that, it happens when you have trauma to your head and your brain basically shifts from one side of the cavity to the other. Now you don't have much space in the skull of a woodpecker. So it's really interesting. And I think this would be a very good tree to try and find something to eat on, just because of the amount of insects that would now be living around here and inside the trunk of this marula tree. So an entire ecosystem in one tree, providing food for various animals, elephants, when the fruit drops, warthogs, monkeys, all these types of things, and then insects living in the trunk and under the bark. Now, I am very hungry, and it's funny that Anna Marie has just asked me what is my favorite berry to eat in the bush. I'm starving. I could have breakfast right now. I think I can smell it, because we're not far from camp. Smells like French toast. Maybe we're having French toast this morning, or was it fruit and yogurt? Anyways, but Anna Marie, I've got a variety of favorite fruits out here, and the marula tree has to be my favorite. I think it's cameraman David, who's in Kenya at the moment. I think it's his favorite tree because him and I have eaten, I can't even tell you how many marulas in one go. We used to put them in a freezer bag and then put them in the freezer, and then just before afternoon safari take them out, and they were delicious and cold and so refreshing, all that juice that is so high in vitamin C and got lots of sugars. So if you are feeling a bit dehydrated or lethargic from a hot day out, maybe not drinking enough, it was just the energy boost, the natural energy boost that we needed. And then my other particular favorite is that of, actually I've got two more from the guari bushes. Of course, I love the guari berries, and we got lucky last cycle. We found a tree that had some, but the others haven't started to bear their fruits just yet. They taste like a grape crossed with a pomegranate. And then another one that you find down in the Eastern Cape. It's also from the Diospyros, so the fruit looks fairly similar to that of the jackalberry. It's also part of the Diospyros family. I'm just trying to remember the name. I think it was called common apple, common hairy apple, or something like that. I've completely forgotten the name. But amazing, you break it open, it's I've got 5 segments in it, and hairy common star apple, something like that. Anyway, it was delicious. It had this big black seed. It looked like a watermelon seed, and then outside it was flesh. It was white, like the texture of a grape, but you ate it and it tasted like something of a grape crossed with a lychee, something along those lines. So those are probably my favorites. They're very delicious, but all the fruit out here is quite pleasant, except from the Ziziphus macronata, the buffalo thorn. I do not care for that fruit, but I'm going to send you back across to Ali, who's driving around in Rusty, and she's still looking for leopards and lions.
We were looking for them, however I can't seem to find any signs for any of those creatures around here, so I wonder if maybe they've, grown wings and flown off into a different area, or if maybe they are still around and we just cannot see them. But while we've been driving around, we found this beautiful tree that I think it's quite funny to know about. So let's just show it to you guys. I believe maybe Taylor hasn't shown you one of these ones before, and this is called a Gardinia. Very beautiful species of tree. This one is slightly dead because I believe maybe an ellie came and pushed it down. But what is interesting about this tree is that it's also got a very powerful value, or for a lot of the tribes around this particular area. So because this tree, it's very pretty, it grows in it almost looks like a giant lollipop if you see it all standing up. Very beautiful white and yellow flowers, very smelly. I personally hate the smell, but I think I don't really like how many of the flowers smell around here. And they produce a fruit that's about maybe this big, looks almost like a berry, and it is one of the ones that as humans we don't really like eating. Animals seem to like them. You'll find sometimes giraffe even eating them, kudu, impala, nyala, and all of the different creatures. But this particular tree, as I was saying earlier, has got a lot of spiritual value, and it is believed that inside of the tree there are good spirits that live in it and will protect everything that's around them. So a lot of the times you will find that a lot of villages will plant the trees around, or a line of them around, just to have those good spirits help in the protection of the village or a particular house. But also everyone's convinced that they are able to ward off lightning. So also you will find them around the houses just to prevent lightning striking them and pretty much burning the house down. So you'll find them often planted around there. And there is one more thing about them that is quite funny. I wonder if I can maybe try and find a better view. Where are you? I don't know if maybe we'll be able to see them from here because the branches are all quite broken. But if you see, I'm going to try and show you. Oh, there's an elephant coming. You just gave me a fright, boy. I think maybe I'm going to jump the vehicle because I really want to give it a bit of a fright. Definitely did not see it coming there. But maybe this is what we should have done all along. Just wait for the animals to come to us. Let's just turn around and see where he goes. I'm sure this is the one that Taylor was looking at. Or, well, not looking at, but the one that she could hear off in the distance. Well, thank you, Ellie, for coming and joining us. No? I think we're gonna maybe give him a bit of a moment to calm down, because I think he got a fright just as much as I did. He was happily moving around. And here he comes, stumbles upon a human talking about a tree that perhaps even he was the same one that pushed down. Let me just see if I can move forward and we'll be able to see him again. Otherwise, he seems to be headed onto the parallel road that we wanted to go onto. There he goes. Hang on, guys. Trying to get a view of him. There we go. He's crossed the drainage line. A nice big bull. Was definitely not expecting to see an elephant when I looked up. And there he goes, hiding in between the bushes. So you see, a lot of the times in situations like this, what will happen is the animal will not want, and he wasn't being aggressive to us whatsoever, but obviously we don't want to step on its comfort zone or move around too much around it. So I think they also feel a lot safer when they don't see people moving around, because they're used to the vehicles and they know that that's a safe thing that's not going to do anything to them. But I don't think, just like I don't think he was expecting to bump into anything else. Well, I'm going to try going around, see if perhaps we manage to find him on the other side of the road. Hopefully we will, because I would really much like to see a very big creature moving around today. And then maybe later on today, I'll find another beautiful Gardinia that is able to show and express a bit better than this unfortunate one that's been falling off, of why they also call it the Mercedes-Benz tree. So I'm gonna leave that hanging in there, and then this afternoon I'm gonna try and find a new one, a bigger one, where it's a bit clearer, and we'll find out why they get the name that they do. Alright, Ellie, you don't go too far, because we wanna go and see you. And we'll do one last loop around, see if perhaps we can pick any tracks for the leopards that Taylor was busy looking at. So far, no luck. But I am confident that now that everything's warmed up and that the animals are coming to us, that we'll have a bit more luck. Alfred, you're wondering if I'm not concerned about running into a dangerous animal. Well, I just did. So I just bumped it, or rather the elephant bumped into us. But you see his demeanor? So I was, because I don't think you guys could see, I was standing here and he was maybe 10 meters, 15 meters away from where we were. The car was parked here and then he was just here. So he just came around the corner and then saw us, raised his ears, and then, you know, I finished talking and then got into the car and he was still looking at us, and then he was like, no, not interested, and carried on. So a lot of these potential animals, yes, of course, you've got to treat them with a lot of respect and you've got to be aware of what's happening around you. He was walking on the road very silently, so I think that's why I didn't hear him come. But lucky enough for me, he's quite a big creature, so I spotted him at a safe distance. But a lot of these potentially dangerous animals are not out to get us, or I don't think they're out to get us at all. A lot of the times they just want to carry on with their lives and just do their own thing and move off. I mean, this one had pretty much the choice. Had it wanted to come for me, I reckon he could have tried his luck, but he was, all of his demeanor that just showed that he was curious, what's happening, I don't like humans, and then he just went off. Now, I suppose you've got to see on every different occasion what the animals, what they're doing, and, you know, how they're looking at their environment. Like if we were to, for example, go and find on foot lions on a kill with cubs, I reckon they would be quite aggressive. So that's when you have to be a lot more careful of what you're doing and how you're doing things. And it's why part of the reasons for self-protection, why they won't allow you to walk for too long in certain areas without carrying a rifle, especially if you've got other guests with you, because, you know, it's got to be done in a safe way. But unless you bump into an animal and you're too close to it, and that's why sometimes you're a bit reluctant to walk in areas that are too thick because you can't really see around, animals just don't like being surprised. So once they get surprised and you bump into them and you're already too close and then they get a fright, some of them, or I would say most of them, would prefer to run away than actually come to you. But it varies on every potential occasion. So we are quite aware of the fact that we are working in an area we have to be aware of the fact that we are working in an area where we've got all of these potentially dangerous animals. But like I said, a lot of them are just not even interested in us. They just carry on with their lives and do their own thing. I mean, Ellie just went around and he was just like, no, bye, and carried on moving. It would be pretty much the same with leopards, but like I say, you've got to know what you're doing, and that's why the training to be able to walk in an African wilderness area is quite extensive. So you've got to go on so many hours of walking and going with people that already know how to do it, that can mentor you to then be able to successfully walk around, or to do it in a safe environment. And if you want to do a trails course, or if you want to take people on a walk with you, then you've got to have a certain number of qualifications, and you've got to have had or proven to have a certain experience. And then you also get a practical assessment where you take an assessor and some fake guest. A lot of the times are just other people that work in the lodge or rangers, just to prove that you can do this safely. We're gonna see if we can maybe shoot across quickly and then find this gorgeous elephant that was looking at us. But in the meantime, let's go to Taylor, who seems to be the queen of the dung today.
Queen of the dung, Ellie. That's something I have not been called yet, but I shall take it in my stride. Yes, I'm Taylor McCurdy, Queen of the Dung. But what we have found is a very miserable looking dung beetle, and only half of it. Something has eaten it. Many different things could have eaten it. Could have been a civet. It could have been a little barred owlet, perhaps catching that. Maybe a pearl-spotted owlet. Many of the different birds. Corsair, the lapwings that we see running around here, they could have done that damage. But that's what's going to happen now, is it's going to be much easier for the birds and things to start spotting the insects, just because of the lack of vegetation. And I think where we're standing at the moment is a perfect spot to just show you how low the grazing value is actually here on Quarantine. Now, these big open plains, they actually consist more of these annual forbs that just pop up every year and then die down when the winter season comes. And you can clearly see that. Look how sparse the ground is. I'll just kick my foot around. It's very, very sandy with bits of grass growing in between. There really only is the tassel 3 awn, the odd feather top chloris, and herringbone grass that are left in these areas. That seems to be it, and it's not going to last for too much longer. Now, there was a question that came through earlier from John, and seeing as though we've been talking about a lot of dung and we've been seeing a lot of dung around, John, your question was, does the herbivore dung act as a fertilizer? It most certainly does, and you can see just here we've got lots of wildebeest dung. So that's exactly what would happen. Just as a cow dung or rhino or elephant or hippo dung we use in our gardens, or I have used all those 3 species of dung before in vegetable gardens and worked really well. Elephant dung's not the greatest because it's filled with lots of different types of plants, so you get lots of seeds. So I found that rhinoceros dung, white rhino dung, and as I said, an insect managed to fly straight into my eye. Can you believe that? Let's get it out, or it must just drown now. Let me make it drown. So I use either hippo dung or white rhino dung in the gardens, just because they're feeding predominantly on the grasses, mainly on grasses. So there aren't too many sort of seeds and things. You don't get some odd weeds popping out into your vegetable garden. Otherwise, when you do see them pop out, you just pull them out. So yes, they do. It does act as a type of compost for the soils. It's the same thing as caterpillars. I think caterpillar frass, their feces has to be some of the most sort of nutrient-rich dung. And I always talk about this because a lot of you that do garden, you obviously don't want any caterpillars or any grubs or anything in your garden because they cause damage to your vegetables or your flowers, whatever you may be growing. But it is so important to maybe just move them to a plant that you don't mind them feeding on, because that frass falls to the ground and it turns up in the soil, especially if you are gardening and you're sort of using your little forks and you're sort of aerating the soil, that type of thing, that mixes in with the soil, and in a dung form, a bit of water, it breaks down quicker and sort of returns those nutrients back into the ground, as do the wildebeest, the rhino, the elephant, all the different dungs. The buffalo dung does quicker than what sort of leaves would, and grass, dead grass, it takes a lot longer for those fibers to break down and then those nutrients to be restored into the ground. So yes, that whole digestive process of animals definitely speeds up returning nutrients back into the ground, which is really, really quite cool. Let's see what else we can find around here. Oh, very interesting, and something that I'll definitely have to remember. Lara Moore, thank you for your comment. You've said that apparently zebra and giraffe dung is very good to use when growing tomatoes. That's very interesting. And guess what? I'm trying to grow tomatoes, but that pesky bushbuck, Mr. and Mrs. Bushbuck, I don't like them very much because they've come through and they've ruined all my hard work of months of trying to grow tomatoes and chilies. I'm so upset by their behavior. So I now have to march around and mom every single person in camp and to tell them that they have to keep that gate closed, otherwise the bushbuck are going to come in. But I know they're going to outsmart me and they're going to come around, but perhaps I shall be adding some zebra and giraffe manure to my tomato and chili garden. Right, it seems as though Ali's managed to relocate on that elephant. Let's go and have a look at the grey giant.
Well, it seems like bumping into that bull was quite useful because now we have a whole herd around us. So I'm sure this is the ones that Taylor was listening to, or she could hear. And not too far from everyone else. Here we are. Ha! Interesting. I'm sure that bull was busy following up on all these emails and see if perhaps any of them could be wooed away by him. Huh. Oh, yes, please do come a bit further into the road. We would love to have a bit of a better look. Mary, you say you love elephants. I love them too. I think they're very smart creatures. And I can't really see how many there are because they're a bit in an area that's a bit too thick. But I think we're looking at a herd of maybe about 10. Perhaps there are a bit more down there in the bushes. Fortunately, the road doesn't go too close to them. So I'm wondering, well, I'm willing them with the power of my mind to come into an area where we can enjoy them a bit better. But how amazing is this? We drove this road not 5 minutes ago, and we definitely could not hear any elephants breaking anything, and we did not see them. And now we've just gone around, and here they are again. Also, on the side of an update, if you guys have been wondering about the hyena den, we did go down there and try to have a look. However, we couldn't find anything. I think they're all a bit too sleepy. There's a Shlambi and Lovu twin dams in Goyali Junction, static feeding. Copy, is it the same lock? What's the lineup there? Copy, then I'll try my luck. Thank you very much. Alright guys, we are going to leave these beautiful elephants because it seems like little Xongile has decided to go up back onto the same tree. I know there were a few people looking for her this morning and she was not there, so maybe she was off gallivanting in the bush, but she is still back there. So I'm gonna try to make our way quite quickly over there, see if perhaps we can have a look, because I'm sure everyone would really like to see her again. So I'm gonna go there quite quickly and seeing we've got some space to go in there and have a look. Yay! So we're gonna be doing a bit of a Ferrari safari, trying to get there on time before the show ends. We are not too far, but I'm sure we will be able to have a look. Woo! I'm going to go quite quickly, so in the meantime let's go over to Taylor, who's strolling on quarantine.
We are strolling on quarantine, and Craig and I have just been having an entire discussion about snakes. Would you like to hear our conversation about snakes? We were talking about handling various snakes out here, and one of my favorite snakes is the puff adder. I really like it, and you quite often you could find them out in these areas. We always see their tracks going across the road, and especially in the winter months. Remember, our snakes out here, most of our reptiles don't hibernate like they would in, say, America, or in very cold places. They estivate, so the sort of temporary stages of hibernation. So when it's a nice warm day like it is today, it wouldn't be uncommon to find a puff adder or a mamba just out of its burrow or out from underneath the shrub and just sunning itself out. And when we were talking about handling them, Craig was saying he was quite lucky. It was a gaboon adders. Yeah, so he was able to handle gaboon adders when he did a couple of shoots with them, which was really nice. Also a serious venomous snake. And as you know, the puff adder is the fastest striking snake in the world, and the gaboon adder is a cousin, a very triangular head in the viper family, essentially. So not ones to mess around with. And then he said, what was the snake that I've handled most? And I have to say, it's probably the Mozambique spitting cobra. I've handled many puff adders in the Eastern Cape. I suppose it was area specific. In the Eastern Cape, when I was working down there, we had between Cape cobras, worm slungs, and then as well as puff adders always in the lodges, so we removed them. More puff adders than anything. And then when I was up in the sands, the amount of Mozambique spitting cobras that were seen were crazy. And now I will not touch a venomous snake without a snake stick. So either you have a hook, or you have a hook and you have a set of tongs. Depending which one you could grab first, I'd prefer with a venomous snake to probably use something like tongs to keep its head away from me. Like Craig was saying, a puff adder is not necessarily one that's going to, if you have it by the tail, is going to swing back and try and bite you. They don't seem to have as much sort of strength, but you get ones that are snakes that are arboreal. You'll see Mozambique spitting cobras moving around and over sort of obstacles quite easily, worm slungs and that type of thing. It's better to keep their head away from you, and then you can hold the tail no problem. And Mozambique spitting cobras were always in the guest bathrooms, always in the boma areas, in the wood piles. We need to remove lots of them. And Erica, you were wondering if there are ever any snakes in the trees. Most certainly, a green mamba is a very good example of an arboreal snake. For example, another one, worm slung, the tree snake, which is also good, is quite venomous, but the chances of you being bitten by a worm slung are quite slim because they're back-fanged. So you've really got to shove your hand down their throats if you want to get bitten by one. So again, and then quite shy, they'll move away from you, but beautiful. We're actually talking about juvenile worm slungs the other day, and I think that they must be one of the prettiest snakes that we get out here. And then also the vine snake, which I think Craig has said is his favorite snake, if I'm not mistaken. But I have never seen a vine snake before out in the wild. So yes, lots and lots of sort of snakes. Now I have to tell you a story about a green mamba. I was very little, but my mom tells the story all the time, and my mom has an absolute phobia of snakes. She doesn't like them. She screams. She's so dramatic. It's ridiculous. Even though my brother and I always move the snakes away. We've grown up living in the bush. I grew up on a stud farm, so there were always snakes around. So anyways, the one she always describes the story, they were in KwaZulu-Natal in the Durban region. We lived there for a few years when I was just a wee lass. And she said they went out for a picnic, her and one of my mom's closest friends. I think our parents were, well, not my parents, my dad, so the husbands of my mom and her friend were out. They were having a cricket match, and I think they were watching this game. And they sat under this beautiful big tree that provided a nice bit of shade. All the kids were there. I was there. Dot's kids were there, and we sort of went, okay, great. All playing around, and the next thing my mom said, they'd laid the blanket out, they put the big picnic basket with all the lunch in, like one of those old school round picnic woven baskets, and she said the next minute she heard a thud, and she didn't know what it was, so she just sort of looked around her and she went, okay, and carried on with her day, not thinking, reaching in, getting cheese and biscuits and all other delicious treats that she was, everyone was having as snacks and for lunch. And eventually they took the sort of the cloth that they'd put over the top of the picnic basket. She took that off, and as she looked inside, she saw this green mamba sitting inside the basket. So luckily, I don't know how she didn't get bitten. Somebody was on her side. She definitely had a whole lot of luck. This mamba had actually fallen out of the tree and straight into a picnic basket. Talk about luck. And my mom didn't get bitten by a snake. But anyways, those are my snake stories. I'm going to send you across to Ali, who's zipped on over, and she's managed to locate Xongile.
I know you guys won't believe it, but she's just gone behind the marula tree. So she was busy sleeping up there, and now she's gone down. I think maybe your strategy this morning should have been to just let the animals come to us. Clearly that elephant brought us good luck, and now that it's nice and warm, everything seems to be moving around. So let's maybe move, see if perhaps we can get a bit of a clearer view from her. And let's just see where she goes. Alright, sorry. She's just gone in that general direction. I think maybe let's let you guys go ahead. Yeah, she's roughly where Rexon is. She just climbed down. Alright, this is getting a bit tough, so we're gonna move and try to find her again. Sorry guys, I had to let people ahead of us go so that we could get us out of the spot where we were in. But I'm sure she hasn't moved too far. Lots of us are around here to try and look for her, which is always a good thing when cats are moving around. I just want to go around here. Let's go look for pretty Xongile. It doesn't seem like there's anything left of her kill yesterday. Well done, girl. You ate it all. Okay, can't see her from here, but I'm sure she's not too far. There she goes, walking in the bush. Stunning. Hello, were you just playing games with all of us this morning? Whoop, there goes a tail. Into the bush. Alright, I just need to wait for the guys around me to sort of move around. Maybe I'll see if I can find a different way to move. Maybe if we go around here. I can't see where she is now. So you see, you managed to see just how tall the grass is. So even if she was somewhere around this morning in the very tall, long yellow grass, you can imagine just how tough it becomes to try and spot her. Not too sure where she's gone off to. I'm pretty sure she's still in between these cars over. Oh, I see her shape now. I'm just gonna move around so that we can see her from this other side. And maybe she's looking at something. She seems to be quite intent. I wonder if maybe perhaps she spotted another duiker. Maybe an Impala. Stunning. See, so yesterday she had her kill and she was up. Oh, look at that tail moving like that. I wonder what she's seen. Normally when they start moving their tail like that, is that they're thinking about something, and then there was something that caught her attention. So she actually seems to be smelling something down there. Amazing how she's just gone, disappeared into the sea of yellow. We can just keep up with her. Looking at that white beacon. So you understand now why sometimes, or why leopard mothers have got that white on the fluff of the tail. Imagine all the tiny cubs that are not longer than the grass and that they need to try and follow a mother. Pretty much something impossible to them unless they've got something to look at, which is exactly what we were doing. We're just, you know, pretending that we are perhaps leopard cubs to be able to find her. Please don't let there be a log here. Oof. And the guys checked around this morning and there were tracks for male leopards all throughout, so I wonder if maybe she just heard them coming and she decided to disappear. Let's see where you are. Okay, she is still there. She hasn't moved all that much, but we're just gonna make our way slightly closer. Don't want to be moving around too quickly to try and find her, because then we might just spook her. mattress state. You say that it's almost like she's got a slag for a tail. Almost. There she is moving into the bushes at the back. A flag. Sorry, I thought that's what I said. Maybe I'm too excited looking at Xongile that starts with an S and I'm making up words as we go along. But yes, that is exactly what it is, a flag. And that's, you know, a beacon that she takes and then she carries through the bush with her, but just the tip of her tail. And thankfully we've got that, because can you imagine if she hadn't put that up, I don't think we would have been able to see her amongst all these grass. Lots of other marulas around here. I wonder if maybe she's gonna try to climb a different one. Let's see. I can't see her for now. I think she's gone further ahead of us. I can't see her from here. Alright, we will definitely get... She's going onto a termite mound. Let's see if perhaps she goes up. Yeah, go up the termite mound, Xongile. Yay! Look at her on the termite mound. Go up. Come on, girl. All the way up. Can't see her from here. Maybe not all the way up, but I'm sure she is on the other side of the termite mound. Wonder if she's gonna come up. Alright, we have found her yet again, straight ahead of us, looking as regal as a leopard can be. Let me move a little bit more to the side. Sorry guys, this is just a very stunning view, and I think we will all want to see it. Look at that. Ah, beautiful. So very, very regal of her. I wonder if she could hear something earlier on, and that's what she was going up and having a look at. You see, the grass is very long, is what we were seeing when she was walking around, and she couldn't really see too much. And a lot of the times, cats, and it's sometimes a bit more apparent when cheetahs doing in very open plain areas, will go to vantage points, areas where they can see a bit higher. And then because of that, because they are higher up, they can see a bit further away. Isn't this stunning? What a beautiful view. And that is wonderful. And that's the shape of the termite mound. Almost seems to be good for her. Hello? Are you saying hello? Ah, oh, that's just stunning. Look at her. So regal already. So she is alert. She's looking at something, maybe just scanning all of the area around. Her ears are constantly moving in the wind, so she's picking up all the noises that everything around us is making. The wind is picking up a little bit more as well, so I wonder if maybe she's gonna come down. But wow, what a view. I'll you stick around with little Xongile and see what she's up to. Let's go to Taylor, who's also looking quite regal.
I don't know if I'm as regal as Xongile, but I thought I'd climb up onto the highest perch that I could find, and that is the Djuma Research Centre sign. And here I sit, saying goodbye to all of you. I hope that you've, of course, enjoyed our time with us, and it's been loads of fun on bushwalk. We haven't done a bushwalk in quite some time, but I just wanted to say a big thank you from Craig and I on our side for putting up with all our antics this morning. And I'm going to send you back across now to Ali and Miss Xongile to finish off the show.
Well, certainly all of the cats have been giving us a run for it this morning, but what a reward after looking the whole morning for pretty much anything to have a royal princess looking so beautiful. I'm so proud of her right now, sitting on top of that termite mound like a proper adult leopard. Well done, girl. we are really thankful that you decided to come and say hello to us, even if it was at the last minute. I wonder if she's been talking to Tingana. Stunning. Look at those beautiful spots. This is wonderful. Perfect to close our show, and I'm sure we will see some more of you guys during this afternoon sunset safari. Hopefully she will still be somewhere around this area where we can come and just try and see her again. If not, we can always try. But I would like to say goodbye to all of you on behalf of myself, Senzo, and everybody else. I'm sure Taylor and Craig also had a blast this morning. But let's just close with the beautiful view of a very, very beautiful princess.